There is no such thing as gender war in an African culture. Our women in today's world are truly confused. The Western education that is being brought to Africa make our women think that independence is what you benefit from being educated. Every prostitute always wants to find a way to recruit more so that their life will not be the only one that will go through turmoil. When boys go to school, what they learn in institution is to be team player. When women go to school, they learn to be independent. That is their struggle in life. Was education actually set in Africa to free our women, or was it set in Africa so that our women will rebel against men? What is? We still debate if one should get married or one should not get married. That at this particular junction, people should already be very intelligent, educated, and informed enough to be able to make the decision if they want to get married or not. It was very unfortunate when I make a video about women getting married and I talked about the kind of woman a man should invest in. Most likely those men that are in diaspora that are looking for women in Nigeria. Someone told me, and he wrote on my comment section, that it doesn't matter, it is not culture and tradition that affects the morality of people. It is the people themselves. Culture and tradition is not applicable to morality. Then I asked the question, what did you understand about culture and traditions? Culture and tradition is what stipulates exactly the ideology that people live by. And it is the ideology of the way people live by, their culture and tradition, that determines what is moral and what is immoral. Let us say we are in the Western culture, for example. Gay and marriage is part of their culture. It is their culture and tradition. Was it enforced on them? Now it is kind of enforced on them if peradventure it was not part of their culture and tradition. Some people would say that previously men and women have always been lesbian and gay, but did the culture and tradition accept it? No, it was a taboo, and because it was a taboo, people stigmatize such acts. But in the name of freedom, in the name of we have liberty to do what we want to do, now we adopt those things. Now you would ask yourself, what is the culture and tradition of an African person? And this is the reason why when we lose culture and tradition, the men and the women automatically become confused. A society cannot play any role without culture and tradition. Culture and tradition just look like the unwritten rules somewhere within the lifestyle at which they use and see themselves. If you're in New York and you're in Vegas, there's a culture in Vegas, despite the fact that their constitution are similar. In New York, you are allowed to do some things. In Vegas, you are allowed to do some things and not to do some things. Our women in today's world are truly confused, and the reason why most of them are not getting married as an African woman is simply because they have the ideology that has been indoctrinated through education system in their institution, that when they are being educated, it gives them the liberty to be independent. I repeat, the Western education that is being brought to Africa make our women think that independence is what you benefit from being educated. And that is a false narrative, and it's ruining the life of our women. A lot of them have gotten destroyed and their ego has been shattered, but the truth is this: they still go on with that ego and they brag regardless of the pain they go through. No prostitute want to be told that they are prostitute. Every prostitute always want to find a way to recruit more so that their life will not be the only one that will go through turmoil. The ideology of we speaking to ourselves today and telling women that you should get married and you shouldn't get married, the question should be, what is the consequence if you decide to get married, and what's the consequence if you decide not to get married? People have to weigh those two things together and make a decision which one they would prefer. Men and women go to school, but they learn different things. So the education system of Nigeria that I know as an African, when boys go to school, what they learn in institution is to be team player. That means they need to work together as a team. That is the thing that men learn when they go to school in Africa. When women go to school, they learn to be independent. And that is their struggle in life. Men begin to network with themselves to gain women. Men begin to network with themselves to get business. Men begin to think of how to do team business to get more money. Men begin to network and work together to build up team. But our women, the moment they go to school, it is about individualism. Individualism. Independence. Why do they focus on independence? Was education actually set in Africa to free our women, or was it set in Africa so that our women will rebel against men? Do not look at it from that angle, but look at the church institution too. Church is also an institution. Today, does church teach women to love, respect, and be submissive to their husband? Because when we say submissive now, most women get triggered. This is how fucked up we have been in our brain. But when we talk to men, that men need to provide and work hard to provide and protect their family, men don't fight against it. But when you tell women to be submissive to their husband, oh, war begin. Am I a slave? Why? Who told you you were a slave? When your ancestors were being captured, was it only male that was captured? Or was it only female that was captured? Was it not male and female? So what makes you think that both of you that have been enslaved, now you want to be slave to a slave who has not really gotten their freedom? That when you mention the name nigger, what does it mean? Is it not both men and women? Are they not talking about the Negroes? Are they not talking about the black culture? You do not, as women today, most women do not understand the consequence of deciding not to get married. And that is what I will bring to you. I advise you today. You see, you are free as an African woman not to get married. Pete, you are 1,000,000% free not to get married as an African woman. I did not say Nigeria, as an African woman. But before you do, I want you to listen before you make the decision fully. There is no such thing as independence. And can you tell me one great person who has ever done anything great in life doing it individually, independently, alone? For example, Fela Anikulapo. Fela Anikulapo Kuti is a great musician. Will you say that he sang the music and he played the drum and the instrument? Who were his dancers? He needed women. Who were his drummers? Who were the people who booked shows for him? Jesus, which most women are beginning to marry, despite the fact that they are married to their husband, but they honor their pastor. They are married to their pastor. They are married to Jesus psychologically. They are submissive to their pastor, but they despise their husband. Jesus could not do his mission alone, despite how great he was. He needed 12 disciples, including Mary and Martha. His mother is also involved. Jesus could not do anything great. He wouldn't be anybody today if not for the people that he had together. There is no child that is born as a person that can live and survive without the combination and effort of parents raising that child. You may say just a single mother can raise a child. Are you sure? But every child, if you say a single mother can raise a child, at least she needs somebody. Every child needs somebody to survive, right? You think that because you're grown up, you don't need anybody. They say it is better two people should raise a child, a husband and a wife to raise a child, because every history, statistics, and demographic of people who raise children together, men and women, the children are less likely to go to commit crime, are less likely to go to prison. If it is a girl that a single mother raised, it has always shown that they get pregnant early and they find themselves having sexual affairs very early in their life, getting pregnant, getting married early, making mistakes very early. If it is for a boy that happens to be their son, Most of the women are going to, most of the men are going to find themselves committing crime if they are raised by only one mother. Because I can tell you, I don't care how much a mother shouts, male children cannot be afraid of their mother. Even if you hurt them, even if you hit them with stick, there is just that innate something for them to understand that despite the fact that I allow my mother to beat me, she's not stronger than me. They just know it naturally. I was 16 years old when I told my mom one day, I said, when I get to 18, I would like, don't raise your hand and beat me. My mom is not that violent, but I told her. She beat my sisters, my two sisters, till they got married. There was a day she wanted to beat me. I held her hand. Then she started crying like I committed a crime. I held her hand. I said, don't slap me again. It was on 31st night, December, New Year. I went for a show. I came back. My mom started beating me. I held her hand. She now started crying, that I've beaten her. Before you know, they asked, the whole community gathered together, asked me to apologize. I started begging my mother before my mom forgive me. But when I stopped her from hitting me, fear was inside of her, thinking that this boy can do this and do that. She felt it at that moment that she's no more in control of her son. If my father was alive, can I do that? Now, that's for the children aspect. Let's talk about your emotional aspect. What do you think that you can truly do as a woman emotionally without someone that will be there to help you regulate? I, as a person, I get to certain situations despite consciousness and awareness that I have. I get to a place that I always need support. I am a person who would most likely, you would never hear me ask for things from you. In fact, if I ask and you decline, I would never ask you again. I am the most introverted human being that I know on the surface of this earth. I prefer talking to you one-on-one. I prefer staying alone rather than anywhere. I have property. Like this, my property here, I can go somewhere inside. I have almost, I don't want to brag, it shouldn't look like brag, but there are places I can stay in my place that you would not see anybody, and I love staying there. But at the same time, I know the importance of being with my wife. I know the importance of the union of me and my wife. I know that there is an importance of emotional support that I need from my wife. And when you make a decision you want to be independent, the question is, what are you actually running from? What is the problem you're running from? In today's society, the Western culture has what we call gender war. I repeat, in the Western culture, they have what we call gender war. There is no such thing as gender war in an African culture. We don't have war. We have different views. Men and women would always have disagreement. We would always see things differently. Men and men don't see things in the same eye. Women and women don't see things. In fact, women would always fight themselves. So just because of our disagreement and our views and some bad fruits within the part of humans that does something that is wrong, or someone break your heart, and then you begin to think or have it in your mind that there's trouble. Why would we use the word gender war? Is there any country on the surface of this earth that men and women are actually fighting war? In fact, civil war. Is there any society that has progressed since the beginning of time without the unity, the union of men and women? Rather than us to think of how to work together, we make decisions to see ourselves as enemy. And when we decide to unite, we are still very untrustworthy of each other. I don't trust me. I don't trust you. You don't trust yourself. You don't trust me. We have made being unfaithful become natural in homes. Why? Because of the stories we hear here and there. And when there are too many options in life, sometimes people get confused. I think it is because women now have more options to decide which men they give their body to. Because you have more options to choose who you can give your body to, do you actually know that the person you actually want to give your body to really wants you after he gets your body? Most of you don't ask yourself those questions. Some of you think that having a child is not a reproach on you, which it shouldn't be, but men see some of those things as abomination depending on the grade and the category of where they meet themselves in life. And let me make this caveat very clear. Why most women are really confused. Men has always lied to women since the beginning of time about what they want. I will make it clear today. Anything men tell you that they want and that makes you want to give your body to them, that man is actually lying to you. What a man shows of himself, not of what he has gathered, of himself as a person, without him disclosing it to you and telling you that as a man, this is what I want from a woman. I want a woman who is short, who is dwarf, who has big ass, who has big boobs, who has this, who is beautiful, who is submissive, who is gentle, who is this and that. Most likely that man will want something else that is actually not implying or applying to the particular demand that is requesting for. When he gets that particular thing, there are certain things he probably haven't seen before. He would look into it. I have said it countlessly in my other videos that the only reason why women are not supposed to cheat, because African men don't cheat. African men exercise options. And what I mean by that statement, that African men don't cheat, is this. Cheating is when you are hiding something from your partner. That's when you cheat. If I'm playing game with you and you are hiding, you are cheating. Or you're using code that we did not agree on, you're cheating. But I think that because African men have become Nigerian men, and Nigeria is actually given to us by the Western culture, and our identity now is mixing with the Western culture, we think that for a man to make a decision to want to be polygamous, to say that I want to get married to another woman, I want to get married to two women, number one, that doesn't mean he has the liberty to ask for that, except he's competent enough, he has the resources, which most men don't have, and they do. I would talk to men in the next video, but I want to make it clear that some men are competent enough because they can take care of you, but though you are the one that is not satisfied, and then they want another woman, but the nation will shame them. Some of them would say, oh, they are evil person, they are a wicked man, and blah, 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 blah. And so many men pretend to be a calm person, but at the end of the day, they go at the back and they do what they want. They even raise family in different places. A lot of them does. So women who says, I can also do what a man can do. Well, most men can have relationship with a woman, they are married, and they can be raising family in elsewhere while they are still with their wife. Can a woman do the same thing? No, she's only going to bring the bastard child and bring it to the husband. Now, some of you will be upset. Yes, you have every right to be upset about it. If perhaps I use the word that person is actually bastard, because if you open leg for another man and you can't take the child to the father of the child, then the child is being raised by another father. When the father of the child is actually alive, that child is a bastard. It's called a bastard. There's no other name you can use for it. So a man would not work his life hard just to raise another child. Now, most of you are always fighting that you have your own resources, and because you have your resources, you're fine. You see, until you understand the consequence of your action, then don't let anybody tell you what to do or what not to do. I'm not here to tell you that you should get married or not get married. What I'm telling you is that you have to understand that you deciding to stay alone, like Yvonne Jegede, you can see the bitterness in her voice. Look at what do they call her name? Funke Akindele. She tries not to talk about her husband. If she does, you will hear the bitterness. Most men who leave their wife and start their life and continue their life, most men are not bitter about it. Most women are. And that's because they emotionally invested in that relationship. And I want to ask you, do you think whatever you've emotionally invested in, you shouldn't know how to preserve it? And this is the problem. Most people can actually endure and tolerate because these are part of the values, emotional values that women bring to the table. But most of you are not aware that the only reason why you can tolerate or accept or accommodate your husband today is simply because the society will tell you that you're a fool for accepting, for accommodating, for tolerating. And these are the things that have been the issues that women have to struggle with. I'm not saying it's okay. I think men should grow up. I think there are a lot of fuck boys out there that are we're supposed to have more men, but we have a lot of playful boys. But the problem that I also look at when I look at the women who make choices of this men is, where are you? What do you want your life to look at? What are you envisioning for yourself before you make a decision that this particular guy you choose would perform better after you choose him? You use the face of dating. Most of you use the faces of dating to think that that is how marriage is going to look like. And that's where you get it wrong. And it's simply because if you understand the culture and tradition of your people, then you would understand the union of how men and women move together within your tradition and culture. Then you can be conscious of the decisions you make. But unfortunately, we have been indoctrinated by Western cultures, and now we've lost it all. I will be staying with this for today. I never planned to talk about it, but I just decided to. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel, like and share. See you in the next one. Have a blessed day. Adios, amigos. Women, you can always do something better, and I'll be speaking about that next.